precision gives you an edge. We offer state-of-the-art therapies to target cancer, which means fewer side effects and more of you living life. Side by side, our collaboration with Mayo Clinic enables our cancer team to consult with world-class experts and deliver you uniquely personalized treatment plans.
In America, the future belongs to everyone. Let's create yours with a built Ford Tough truck. Ford F-150 with impressive max towing capability and available Pro Power on board so you have power on demand. Be future ready with Ford F-150.
Tomorrow might be hard to see, but tomorrow is right in front of us. And we're always looking towards it. Investing another $4 billion in renewable energy and low-carbon solutions through 2025. And lowering emissions by modernizing our infrastructure, bridging to a sustainable energy future.
The trick to throwing well is knowing where you want the ball to go. Like how the local bankers at First Western Bank and Trust take the time to learn about you and recommend the banking services like online banking or personal loans that keep your goals on target.
First Western Bank and Trust. You can bank on us.
Circle Sanitation is a locally owned family business providing quality waste hauling services since 1980. We provide service to residential and commercial customers, as well as roll-off service for large projects and construction sites. We are dedicated to providing excellent service at competitive prices without deceptive contracts or hidden fees. For more on what Circle Sanitation can do for you, call us or visit circlesanitation.com.
Nothing has embodied the American spirit like the family farmer. Year after year, they continue to work the land and plant their crops. Through droughts, floods, and uncertain markets, they keep that spirit alive with another crop harvested for the next generation. And for that, we tip our hats to them. Farmers Union Insurance, protecting those that protect America's food source.
Life is for living, and at First International Bank and Trust, we're all about living, helping your dreams come true. Because we're not just in the banking business. We're in the first home business, the community sponsorship business, the how do I make this happen business, making your banking life easy so you can focus on what matters most. First International Bank and Trust. Live first.
Hello and welcome into another episode of Tauros Tribune Live. Once again, I'm Ken Oda. Kobe Brault is alongside Noah Grant. We'll be stepping up in just a bit, as well as a few new Tauros alternate or assistant captains. But first, Kobe, a good week for the Tauros, 4 points and a pretty dominant sweep of North Iowa.
Yeah, it was an interesting weekend to say the least down in Mason City. But yeah, took care of business both nights. Came out of there with 4 points. Took them 4-0 on Friday, 4-1 Saturday. About all you could ask for going down there against a struggling team. That's now 8 losses in a row for them. So 6 losses in a row going into that. And it's easy to kind of overlook an opponent like that, especially with a long road trip. But the boys are ready to roll and came out of there with 4.
Yeah, I mean, it's always a long road trip that way. And for the most part, it's been a pretty successful building for the Tauros, and it makes that long drive home not quite as bad. But, yeah, I think you mentioned the losing streak for North Iowa. We saw the frustration, and unfortunately the frustration has led to some additional discipline.
Yeah, that was tough to see. What's being called a line brawl on Saturday led to a couple guys being dinged for the first few games of this weekend, But if there's anything that we've seen so far this season with this team, we got depth. 8 guys with 4 or more points, and I mean you can't say enough about the distribution of the puck.
Well, and as well, that line with Central Division Star of the Week, Jack O'Hannison, has been clicking really well. Lettinen and Kettinen on that line as well. I have 4 goals alone for Jack O'Hannison. He outscored North Iowa easily on the weekend.
Yeah, that was impressive. I mean, he got it going right away on Friday. He scored 15 seconds into the game on Friday, and just never really cooled off. He's been hot the whole season, but yeah, especially this weekend, he just seemed to have their number and seemed to be finding the right spot at the right time to put the puck in. So that was really good to see, and hopefully that'll carry over into this weekend as well.
Yeah, let's take a look, if we can, at our leading scorers. Chad Muller, who is one of those guys who's facing some additional discipline, really just for being stronger than 2 North Iowa Bulls. But he's sitting there in 4th on the team in points.
Yeah, Muller, and he had a really good showcase. That's where he got a lot of his points. But the one thing that you love to see when you look at the top 8 guys, those 8 guys that have 4 or more points, our 2 captains, Noxie and Stacks, both with all assists so far. You like to see them distributing the puck and kind of being leaders and not having to take every shot, but being able to set some guys up and get some scoring chances going. So that's cool to see as well. But yeah, I mean, can't say enough about the depth, and it'll have to be on full display again this weekend. Again, like you said, with some guys facing some discipline, we'll see how deep we really are.
Let's take a look at those scores 5 through 8 if we have them, Sean.
Just a second. There we go.
Top 8 there. So yeah, Knox, Dawson, Small, and Stahoyak rounding out the top 8. So again, another good start for the Tauros. We talked about it last episode. The Tauros have been really good in October historically under Cody Campbell, and depth has been key, and it'll continue to be key this weekend with 4 guys suspended for 2 games.
Yeah, and it's a big weekend, honestly, coming up, starting up the Tottenham Trail rivalry, as we're now calling it,
yep.
Against Bismarck tomorrow night. That's going to be a big one. They're sitting right behind us, coming off getting swept this past weekend, so they're going to be ready to roll, I'm sure. And then 2 against St. Cloud, who's just ahead of us, so it should be an action-packed week of hockey for sure.
Yeah, I actually got to look. I haven't shown anyone in the office yet, but I got to look at the traveling trophy for the Totten Trail rivalry. It's a giant compass, and it looks pretty sweet. I got a picture of it sent to me about an hour ago. So that'll be up here tomorrow night, and that'll be a lot of fun getting that rivalry going again. Then, as you mentioned, St. Cloud on the weekend. That's always been an interesting matchup. And Saturday is the Trunk or Treat tailgate, thanks to the Minotauros Booster Club. So get out to the rink early, go through, do a dry run for Halloween, get some candy early, and free hot dog and chips for every kid through the line. 500 flex tickets as well up top. For the first 500 kids through. So a fun event. It's grown every year, and if you are planning to come to the game on Saturday, I'd recommend get your tickets early. I think we've sold out the Trunk or Treat game every year for the last 5 years. So
yeah, and you actually missed the Trunk or Treat last year, Ken, to officiate a wedding, but it was absolutely jumping in there. The line went dang near all the way around the entire arena. I was talking with Jamie Hyde today. He said he has 1,000 hot dogs. He's cooking 1,000, and that's that. So if you want a hot dog, you got to be the first 1,000 in line. Which in theory doesn't sound like it should be too hard to do, but based on last year's numbers, you might want to get there early.
Yeah, and then of course this is the last weekend for the Circle Sanitation Fill the Bin. So fans, if you've got new or gently used winter weather gear, we keep all of that local thanks to Circle Sanitation and working with community action partners to keep all of that winter gear local and help out our neighbors in need. So bring it to the games this weekend or tomorrow night and put them in the Circle Sanitation bins near the front door and help some people out.
Yeah, bins right up front, and as it gets colder, obviously, we don't want to think about winter being here, but it's right around the corner. So anything you can donate, obviously, will help out. Like you said, the community.
Community Action Partners, yeah.
Yeah.
They work with a lot of people here in Minot. They also they're not just a veteran organization, but they work with veterans. They work with people who are struggling. So they're a great organization. Our guy Max out there does a lot of good work, and I'm looking forward to helping them out as much as we can.
Absolutely, yeah. Max is the man. That is a fact.
Now, this is Tauros Tribune Live, and as always, we caught up with one of the writers of the Tauros Tribune. Kobe, you had a chance to sit down with Edward, who follows and helps us out all the way from Arizona State.
Yeah, and it's always good to catch up with Edward. He started working with the team kind of loosely last year, but yeah, he's a great kid, and he's got a real bright future, and we're very fortunate to have him on board all the way down in Tempe. So, without further ado, Sean, if you want to roll.
All right. It is now time for the next segment of Tauros Tribune Live. I got my man Edward Neiman here with us. Edward, how's it going tonight?
Doing good. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, of course, man. So I guess let's start. Let's talk a little bit about your background. You're one of our remote interns, ASU student currently. How did you end up working for the Tauros?
Yeah. So as you mentioned, I'm a second-year student right now at the Cronkite School at ASU studying journalism. But before I came here, I was a student at Loyola Academy, which is, if you don't know, that is our director of operation, Ken Oda's alma mater. So I got connected with the Tauros through there. And, I worked a little bit off and on, through the last season doing more remote stuff. And then this year, trying to get a little more involved and a little more, content-based for our Toro fans out there.
Excellent. Let's expand on that a little bit. Kind of what is that accelerated role that you're taking in terms of the content?
Yeah, absolutely. So a big thing this year, we're going to try to get an alumni report out there in the Toro Tribune editions. Essentially, I can talk about that a little later too. But yeah, we're trying to get into that into each Tribune edition, and then as well as I'm just doing some clipping for the highlights on the game day nights on the Twitter feed. So if you aren't tuned in, you can at least see the highlights of the game virtually there.
Awesome. And so I guess kind of let's expand a little bit on that alumni report. What's your vision with that? I know Ken's had many different iterations of the alumni report over the years, but where do you see yourself kind of taking that in that kind of lead role?
Yeah, well, I think, the Toro fan base is a very passionate, very, very good fan base. And there are a lot of fan favorite players that come through our program, as well as just really any player top to bottom that moves on from the NAHL, from the Toro franchise, and moves on to the next collegiate professional level. And what I want to do is I want to keep them, updated, the Toro fans updated about what those players are doing and how they're faring in the next level and what their plans are moving on. But I think that's important. The NAHL, it's a league of opportunity. It's a league to get these guys to the next level as well as showcase their talents. And I think it's important not to just forget about them after they move out of the program, but to keep them, in the Toro fan base.
Absolutely, yeah, and you mentioned it. A lot of guys throughout the years going to the D1 level and up into the professional ranks. Are there any guys in particular? I know you only followed a little bit last year, but are there any guys in particular that are kind of catching your eye that you think are going to be really fun to follow for this upcoming college hockey season, as well as the pro seasons that are about to transpire?
Yeah, well, you mentioned, I really was following the team started last year, so I'm a little more, I have a little more recency bias to last year. But what I will say after Saturday night, Colby Joseph is a guy that I'm excited to follow. He's staying right in town at Minot State, so I think that's exciting too. Is a lot of the fans are going to continue to see him playing, in town, and are going to see him pretty often. So I'm excited for him. He had a 2-goal effort on Saturday night, which was exciting at the Mesa. But Chase LaPinta, too, he's a guy who had 34 goals for us last year. He's down at Dubuque, Iowa, playing for the Saints. And he's a great player. He was a tremendous player for the Tauros last year. And I really enjoyed his play for our program last year.
Yeah, no, he was lights out last year and has started the season incredibly hot, too, down in Dubuque. Yeah. We're pretty jealous that he's wearing that different shade of red.
Yeah.
But I guess kind of my last question for you, I've always kind of wondered because, like you said, you were with the team last year, as was I. What's your perspective following a NOL team all the way down in Arizona? There's not really any NOL teams down there. Closest ones, over in Texas. Kind of what's your perspective being able to follow this team from afar?
Yeah, well, NOL is you got a team in Alaska, Maine, Texas. It's all over the place. So it is a nationwide league, but it definitely is. It's interesting. Being 1,500 miles away, you would think it's not always you're so connected with the team and the fan base, but I think Toro Faithful has made it pretty easy. Just going on the Facebook page, even the Facebook play-by-plays that Ken does along with the stream, really makes you see how connected and how deep-rooted this community and fan base is. So it's nice. It's really easy. I never feel like I'm disconnected or remote ever, just because of that. But it's interesting. It's makes me feel a little cooler in the summer months. I'll tell you that. But other than that, it's great. It's fantastic.
Awesome, man. Well, my main goal personally is to get you up for a game, get you to see when the
I'd
Mace
love
is
it.
rocking, and we got 2,000 Toro faithful going crazy in there. So that's on my to-do list for this year, is making that a reality. Obviously, school comes first, of course, but no, I appreciate you taking some time and kind of hitting at that alumni report. And when can we expect that alumni report? Is that this upcoming Taurus Tribune issue?
Yes, you should be able to catch that in the next Toro Tribune issue. So hopefully we'll be all ready and good to go.
Awesome, good deal. Well, I appreciate you taking some time tonight, Edward, and yeah, be on the lookout, Taurus fans, for that alumni report starting in the next Tribune and moving forward from there. So.
Great job by Colby talking with Edward there. I've got Noah Grant now alongside. Noah, as the creative editor or layout designer, whatever title you want to give it, of the Tauros Tribune, we're already getting started on the next issue. Tell us kind of what you got planned for that.
Yeah, a lot of things obviously in place here. Of course, even before we get to the next issue, live updates coming for this weekend. Of course, 3 new Northern Century salutes that we're going to have this weekend. They're already plugged in. They're ready to rock and roll. So you should see that on the desktop page. You can find it at gotauros.com, or also on my personal favorite, the Tauros mobile app. Why would you not want to spend time there, right? Some really amazing updates coming up with the Booster Club and AmeriCorps. Obviously, great highlights for them this weekend, as far as, of course, this weekend also being the Minot Hockey Boosters night, tomorrow night on Thursday for the game, complimentary tickets for some of the youth players.
Yeah, youth players wear their jerseys, swing by the Minot Hockey Booster office between 6:15 and 6:50, and I believe they've got 400 tickets for youth hockey players. All you got to do is wear your jersey and go to their office to pick it up before you come to the box office.
Sounds like a good deal to me. So we'll highlight them in the next issue. Some fans checking out their first hockey games. A lot of people getting out and checking out the Tauros. I know for myself personally, a lot of people don't know this. In my real job, as Ken likes to say, I am a nurse, and handing out some flex tickets the other day. They went very fast in the hospital. A lot of new faces coming to Toro games, and that's exciting to see. And then some player highlights as well that we're going to touch on, and then some Toro alums that are having quite a bit of success. Well, Edward, actually, who we just discussed with, is going to have some great highlights and updates for that. Kind of an overview, though. There are 4 guys: Daniel Russell, Colby Amici, Chase LaPinta, and Blake Lazat, all tallying points over the course of the coming weekends. So a couple of guys you love to see the success going through the age gap.
Sean, do we have that graphic there?
Right here.
Yep, kind of runs through some of the hot starts. Danny Russell, 3 points in 4 games for Michigan State. Colby Amici, goals in both of his first 2 games for Bentley. Chase LaPinta is
really good at hockey.
Yeah, 2 goals, 8 assists. I believe he's. I forgot to look this up before the show, but I believe he's top 5 in the USHL in scoring right now. And Blake Lazat, 3 games into the season for the Kings, already has an assist on the year, so off to a good start for him as well. He's played all three games. While we're talking about numbers of games, though, some fans have jumped in on the comments asking about the 4 guys with 2-game suspensions, and yeah, it comes from what the league deemed a line brawl on Saturday night. So Colby Wook, Chad Muller, Will Dawson, and Nick Zwiecki all forced to sit Thursday and Friday night. That'll present a challenge for those first 2 nights, but on a 3 games and 3 night swing, it also should give the Tauros a little bit of an edge going into Saturday, where they're not as tired having those 4 guys come back into the lineup.
Yeah, certainly will be an advantage. Of course, those guys, it's tough to see them sit, although if you check behind us, Colby's doing a very good job of sitting very patiently behind us right now, so clearly prepped and ready for that. But yeah, it's like anything. I think we talked about it with the adversity the first 2 weeks of the season. You play some games, and then after that you have 2 weeks off. Yeah. This is just another bump in the road, and you know what? Sometimes it comes down to it where there's good times and bad times to jump into things. The boys were sticking up for each other. Unfortunately, the league looked at it in an unfavorable light, but I think within the locker room, the guys look at it as, you know, it is what it is. We did what we had to do, and we're going to move on from it, and we're going to be just fine.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about it. Obviously, you don't want to be forced to sit some of those guys. Well, all of those guys, really. They're all top-end players for us, but again, it gives a chance for those depth guys to step up, and Kobe mentioned it, you know, several guys with multiple points already, despite it being early in the season, so depth hasn't been too big of an issue yet. For the most part, everyone's healthy, so it's not as harmful as, say, 4 guys getting suspended in December or January when you've probably picked up an injury or two. So, you know, if there's a good time for it, I guess now is the time. Yeah,
and realistically, the Tauros, we'll get to it in a minute, but they put themselves in a good spot entering the weekend standings-wise, too. They've given themselves a chance to, be able to handle that sort of adversity. And you mentioned, some players that obviously, have had good weekends even over the course of last weekend, Jack O'Hannes and Joel Lettinen as well, too. It's seeing those guys have success, both of them, 4 points, I believe, for them each over the course of the weekend. Central Division Star of the Week for Jack O'Hannes, and Lettinen was second Star of the Week. So, I mean, when you have Tauros topping the chart early, and really we talked about them entering those games against North Iowa, who have lost 8 straight after their first victory of the season. So it's been a really tough start for them. You had to take care of business last weekend, and they did in style. And I think that, overall, you see those two guys who they bring a lot of speed and skill to the table, but then you talk about the altercation that we mentioned earlier. There's a little bit of grit to this team too, and as you and I talked about in the broadcast, they needed a little bit more of that coming out of the weekend against Aberdeen, because I don't know if fans know this, but when Aberdeen rolls back into town, that series is going to have a much different feel when we get deeper and deeper into the season.
For sure. We talked a bit about Chad Muller and how he'll be profiled in the next issue of the Tauros Tribune. Get a chance to meet him a little bit early here with a mic'd up segment. We mic'd him up for practice on Tuesday. And Sean, if that's ready to go, we can let people get to meet Chad a little bit early.
The mic's basically calling me fat. Should not hurt. Thanks, Hammer. You're the man, Hammer. Hey! Yeah, up! What a play!
Yeah, that's nasty.
I know. Chemistry.
Oh, yeah.
That's my puck. Got you. Stay. Good talk. That's just a fast-paced game right there. That's Tauros hockey. Heads up. Woo. Hey. Yeah, pad. Bingo! Hey. Bingo bango, I just want a tango. Nice save. This is how I lost my teeth. This drill. Penalty killing.
Really?
Yeah.
That's sad.
Okay.
Is this a real drop?
Real drop.
Yeah, right? That was a real drop. Ow! I got it. Guards, you gotta stay middle there, right? Guards, go! Kabaragoya. I knew it. I totally knew it. Cabaragoya. Kabaragoya. This is the goon line. I don't know if you want to line brawl us. Smooth operator. Hey, keep going. I got it. Ah! Almost. I needed that. Nothing better than practice water, game water. It's like nice and ice cold. Right out like a Brita.
Oh, that is nice.
I know, right? What is this, a bouncy ball? Do your strap up, you beauty. Hey, what do I do? Go to the net. Ow! It's all right, it happens. You can't be the best player on the team all the time. It happens. What? Dude, you guys are distracting me. Who's touching me? Classic. You're a prankster, eh? Yeah! I'm over this game. I want to go get better. 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 Doors on 2, 1, 2.
Yeah. Great skate today.
Thank you.
You led the skate with pride and foulness.
I do.
And I love it.
And sour.
25 after, 26 after.
Always good to hear the boys obviously fired up for any sort of practice, and we got two of the boys right here, Colby Book, John Emmons. Boys, it's good to have you in here. First of all, I'll start over on the far side of the table, the veteran presence here. Colby, how's the week been? And you know, obviously, like we said, we've been talking about you sitting down. So is the keister, you know, you feeling okay? You feeling all right?
Yeah, I'm feeling good. Yeah.
Good, John. You too as well. You know, getting ready for another big weekend. How was the trip back from North Iowa, and how was the week?
Oh, definitely good. But like the long trip comes a little shorter, especially when we win both. So morale is always high, especially with sleep weekends coming off those long road trips.
Yeah, certainly. You guys have a schedule that's pretty consistent as far as being home and away for most of the year, except for I believe it's a 2-week stretch in December where you guys are on the road. So you bounce kind of back and forth there. A big weekend for you guys. John, I'm going to start with you. You guys have the second best win percentage here. You've got 1 to 4 games in hand on every team in the division. Best goal difference right now at +8. Theoretically, could be in first place by proxy after the weekend. Obviously, 3 games and a lot of hockey to be played, but you know, what does a weekend like this mean to you guys?
It's definitely big being a couple games in hand and everyone else. We should be a little fresher than everyone else speaking like that, and just being a couple points back, it's good to catch up on that, and being down a couple guys, a lot of guys have a big chance to step up this weekend and get a couple points for the team, keep our hot streak going.
Yeah, obviously, big game tomorrow night, of course, against Bismarck. Colby, you know, obviously we talked about the lineup things, but you'll be in plenty more of them. You know, you've seen that rivalry quite a bit over the years. What does that rivalry mean, especially in the building that the Pepsi rink at Mesa Arena brings?
Yeah, it's a huge rivalry. I mean, they always bring their A game, and we always do too. So it's always a physical game, and the fans help us a lot. So being home at the Pepsi, it's going to be unreal, and we just need the fans to show up like they always do every game.
Yeah, it should be good. Obviously, I expect it to be extremely packed over the course of the weekend, of course. And then St. Cloud entering town pretty much right in the middle of the pack around you guys for the weekend. Of course, you don't like to watch standings too much, but, you know, I'm going to flip it back to you, John. 3 games in 3 days, of course, you know, adding that extra game, a little bit of an unnatural turnaround with that early game on Thursday. How is the team and you guys staying prepared and just trying to make sure that you're ready for the weekend and obviously that extra 60 minutes?
Yeah, definitely being short a couple guys doesn't help that either with a short turnaround from the long trip from North Iowa, and then a lot of guys are going to get a lot of extra minutes they're not used to getting. Being down our whole second line and one of our top defensemen is just something we're going to have to battle through and just get through the weekend and recover after that.
Yeah, it'll be a good 3 games. Can't wait for it, of course. You're a Michigan boy, if I remember right. So yes. Washington Township. When I played in college, I got to play in the UP, which was quite a trek, about 14 hours from here. So here's my first question for you. What's better, the UP or the mainland, and tell me why?
Definitely the mainland. Way more down there, not as much snow, and better summers for sure.
Yeah, you're a Detroit Lions guy too, yeah?
Oh yeah, especially this season.
Oh boy, as a Vikings fan, I'll let that go. But to be honest, the Vikings really suck this year too, so it is what it is. We've got the Fort Worth, Texas guy kind of phoning it in over here too. I'm gonna let it go that you're a Dallas Stars fan. That's
absolutely, absolutely.
That's painful. And of course, they've had a couple of good years as well too. Big adjustment theoretically as far as weather though, moving from Texas north here. But I'm understanding you're getting some hunting in and kind of taking advantage of the cold weather.
Oh yeah, my first year there was that major blizzard in April, so that was a little eye opener to me. But other than that, I mean, I haven't really had any many bad experiences here, so it's been good.
Yeah, a little more snowy than down south from what they tell me.
Oh yeah.
I kind of wanted to ask you too, of course, your journey, of course, in your third season now. You had 17 points last year. I've mentioned it quite a bit on the broadcast, is that you spent a fair amount of time, about maybe a third to a fourth of your first season, up with us in the press box, and now of course you come back in your second year a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger, a little bit more experience, and now entering your third season. Do you feel like you've acclimated into that leadership role? How kind of walk us through that transition of how your years in the Null have went here in Minot?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, my first year, like you said, I spent most of the second half of the year scratched, and it was just kind of a learning experience for me. And then my second year last year, I just took a big step in how, during my summer, I prepared way better and put a little offense into my game and grew as a man almost. And then coming in this year, I mean, I've been through it all pretty much, I could say. We've been through playoffs and all that, but yeah, I think I've taken a leadership role and just grown as a man even more than I did last year. And like I said, I think I've been through it all, and so I can speak for a lot of the situations that we can come through.
Yeah, both of you guys getting the A's stitched on your sweater this week. John, carrying on that leadership role, of course, you had a couple good guys on either side of you last year as far as some prolific goal scorers. I felt like myself, you kind of flew under the radar a little bit. You're a good 200-foot centerman. You like to play on both sides of the ice. What do you feel makes your game successful, and also how do you feel like you're going to also off the ice bring that leadership role into the locker room?
Yeah, I think on the ice, just being reliable, offensive, defensive, neutral zone, power play, PK, wherever I can help, really, and just try to do my best. And I think a lot of guys can notice that and kind of depend on me and know what they're getting. Like, always putting my best effort out, and off the ice, like in the gym, in the locker room, try to just be friendly with everyone, just try to be everyone's best friend, and obviously want to be the hardest worker on the team. So I think guys can look to that, my work ethic, and kind of learn from that a little bit too.
Yeah, definitely trying to lead by example. I got one more question for each of you guys. Hopefully, of course, like we mentioned, your third year with the group here. You've gotten to see 3 different seasons here with 3 different groups. And, when you go through locker rooms as a player, every team has a bit of a different vibe, a bit of a different feel. What excites you about this season, and how is the vibe in the locker room with the boys?
Oh, the vibe is great. I mean, you mentioned it earlier. We have a lot of depth and a lot of skill in the locker room, and I think that's going to help us a lot this year. But like you said, it's just going to be a great year, and we hopefully just prove that throughout the year. So
yeah, it should be good. And of course, John, my final question for you. I'm going to kind of push you slightly on the spot here, no pressure. You remember your first season coming in here last year, obviously a bit of a different experience. Now you're adjusted to the role. Is there a particular, quote unquote freshman, so to speak, or a guy who's come in where you've been like, wow, he's really kind of acclimated, and also on top of that, taking those guys under your wing obviously must be a pretty pivotal thing too.
Yeah, I'd have to say my roommate, Jake Ingstrup. It's been great to live with him and kind of seeing him grow. I think might be the youngest guy in the league this year, so it's nice to kind of help him out his first year. Like, I needed help last year, and just kind of help him learn the ways of junior hockey.
Yeah, I believe it 2006, if I remember correctly.
16-year-old.
Oh my gosh, in 2006 I was pretty much a grown man at that point. No, I'm just kidding. But speaking of things that are going to be exciting this weekend, you get to watch all the Tauros in action throughout the course of the weekend. Like we mentioned, Thursday, Minot Hockey Boosters Night from 6:15 to 6:50. Some great tickets on sale for youth players who wear their jersey to the games. And then, of course, Saturday, the 9th annual Trunk and Treat starting at 4:30 before the games against St. Cloud. It's Bismarck, St. Cloud, St. Cloud. Also the final weekend of the Circle Sanitation Fill-the-Bin Coat Drive. Bring your gently used winter coats, other cold weather gear to donate to our neighbors in need. For Colby Boop, John Emmons, Ken Oda, Kobe Brault, Sean Bachhoven, and all the great team, I'm Noah Grant, and we will see you soon from the Tauros Tribune Live. Join us tomorrow night at the Pepsi Ring at Mesa Arena.